East in Los Angeles. It was 24 people that have found that's now deceased in Los Angeles. Um, I was checking around some of the other areas, and I don't have any numbers yet. I'll just log back on and make a video, something like this for some of you that, because you said that they're not covering it on like CNN or any of the other news stations. And yes, the air quality is not good. Um, yeah, I'll try to just film what I could. I just watched something with Jody Watley, and she was saying, if people can help to help. We were just talking about this with my old nonprofit, um, Ladies in Distress, and trying to get that up and running. And unfortunately, you know, this is the one that Jody Watley put up. Hey, fabulous people, Miss Jody Watley, and of course, my prayers go out to all of those impacted by the devastating California wildfires. I'd like to bring a little attention to the residents of Altadena and Pasadena who may not get as much exposure. Yeah, they're not getting much exposure at all. Families in need. And I really wish there was more that I could do. From seniors who've lived but unfortunately, what they've been telling us is to stay away from the areas because they have down power lines and so forth. Get into a hotel for extended stay. The bare necessities to single moms with children, uh, families, businesses. It just goes on. And so if you can find a family on GoFundMe whose story touches you, and you can help in any way, I'm sure they will appreciate it. I've done it, and it made me think I should encourage others to at this time where so many have been impacted. If you can help, please do so. And then there's the animals who've been rescued, and shelters are overflowing. If you can temporarily foster help with providing needs for the shelters and helping alleviate some of the overwhelming influx of animals that were rescued. And as an animal person, I just so do what you can. That's just me. And empathy, compassion is always a good thing, and anyone that needs a blessing, I send it. But do what you can, and that's it. And love to all, and to those who did ask about me, I am fine. I'm actually not in California. I relocated after my mom passed away to the Pacific Northwest, and so I'm not in California, but California is always in me as my longtime residence, and I raised my kids there, and so but help those that are in need right now. And like I said, not everybody's going to have the instant resources, and so yeah, do what you can to help. Okay. And a house isn't just a house. It's for many people. It's a home. It's where you've raised families and you have memories there, and the things that you've accumulated that you can't replace, from pictures to mementos that hold history through your family and your loved ones, and things from, if you have kids, those things, and so my heart goes out to those who not only will have to deal with the red tape now of these horrific insurance companies, those that are having medical conditions. It just runs the gamut. So like I said, just if you can help someone, you should do that. Because, you never know when you may need help from someone. So have a kind heart. Why did you? All right, guys. So hopefully, each county has their own assistance that they're offering. And like a lot of people have said, they're not seeing a lot of coverage for Altadena. And I just wanted to show you guys some of the...
Well, there's levels of trauma to this tragedy. First, you have the devastating loss of life. Then you have the loss of property with homes like this one where only a chimney remains. And then there's the loss of community. Tonight, residents are left wondering what Altadena will look like once it rebuilds. Among the ashes in Altadena includes the community's history of acceptance and diversity.
That was the most important thing my dad shared with me. He says, make sure you buy your house. So when we bought this house in 1993, the whole thing was to buy it and create generational wealth. We were not going to leave.
Kevin Williams' family moved here in 1965 as a kid. While many families were being pushed out of their communities and redlined, Williams' family found refuge in Altadena with a dream of creating generational wealth.
Again, one of the other reasons why we wanted to maintain this residence is for the legacy purposes, for them to be able to inherit this house so that they could stay. It's tough.
Williams lost 2 buildings on his property to the fire, but his home was saved. Tonight, he's concerned for those in the Black community who weren't as lucky. He explains many of their homes were inherited and aren't insured.
So are they going to be able to be rebuild? Who's going to come into the neighborhood? What's going to happen to the African-American people who trailblazed?
Michelle Zach's home of 40 years was also lost in the fire. She's a historian and explains at one point Altadena was around 48% African-American. She says today that number is closer to 20%.
Pasadena was doing a lot of urban development and urban renewal. And it used to be the urban renewal equals Negro removal is what was actually said. And so a lot of people of color moved up from Pasadena to Altadena.
These are 4 of the 11 victims who lost their lives in the Eden fire. We are still waiting to hear about the other victims. As the community looks to heal, they hope their legacy of diversity will be preserved.
Is a rare, good example for America, I think, for how we've all gotten along and been very diverse.
So basically,
Williams tells me many of the Black families he knows do not plan to rebuild just because it's so costly. Others are worried about gentrification. Meanwhile, everyone is hoping that this community comes back stronger. Reporting live, back to you.
So, like I was telling you guys before, of the different Black communities, I was telling you guys about Sugar Hill and different situations that had happened and so forth. But even with this particular situation is even worse because they don't have the insurance coverage. And usually if they're up there in age, they don't have the resources or the funding to be able to rebuild. So this is a terrible situation for the neighborhood. It was one of the few of the last mixed neighborhoods. I know they keep throwing African American out there, but when she told you about the Negro Removal Act, the people who were reclassified as Negroes were the natives that I have been trying to tell you guys about. And these natives are indigenous to Americas, and they are O negative blood type people. These people also mix with the Blacks that came from the South. So when they not only changed their title of what they were named, but once they mix with the African Americans from the South, they also changed the name from Negro. So the only thing that they have left at this point to show their heritage and their background and where they actually came from, which is not Africa, being under that O negative blood type. And it's just horrible that it's all being burnt down. So all that history and all that information will most likely now be under the African American instead of the indigenous of the blacks that were originally already here in California. So that's why I had tweeted um, the information on Ladies Be Distress about the indigenous history of the blacks, the Negroes is what they were reclassified as, the Negroes. And when they had the Negro Removal Act in California, because California is always saying that they didn't participate in a lot of the discrimination. And so when they always claiming that they need to do research, you already have the research, you already have the documented information of the displacement and of the racism and so forth, and the loss of the houses and the homes and jobs and everything else. So it's already documented. So that's part of the frustration, that every time that you get people in, especially if you get people in from the South that don't know the history of the West Coast of California, each time we always fall short, because they just know that one story. And that's why I wanted to get the information about the O negative blood type, so you would understand that there's no way that if you had made it with the African from Africa, would you still have O negative blood type? Because that African blood is more dominant, and your blood would change to whatever that their blood type is. So that was why I wanted to do a lot of the research. A lot of this research was already done back in the 80s and 90s, and that's how the name changed from black to the African American. And unfortunately, all the other history just was dismissed. Just like everything else, when they're trying to put something together, um, quite often they always say they need to do research and so forth. They already have the research, everything is already documented. um, it's just going back and forth with the name of how you want to name uh, groups of people of color that are now kind of lumped into one title. So it's a very terrible, unfortunate situation if anybody has ever dealt with insurance companies. So I guess people are looking at this like it was a plan or some type of direct um, cause, like if they're like they how they always say it's by design or whatever, and that they had intentions with doing all of this and all of this happening at the same time and so forth. Some people say that they are covering evidence and so forth. But regardless, these people are up there in age, a lot of them. And like the guy was telling you about his family, living in these homes for years, over 55 years. And then good news from him is that he's going to try to rebuild and still keep that legacy going. But there are plenty that need help. And I'm not sure the organizations in that area. As I get information, I'm just going to pop videos like this. They're nothing fancy. It's just a lot of you has said that you can't get information about what's going on. So I'm just trying to give you the bits of what I come across here that I can share with you, so you'll know what's happening in the communities here in California. And this is going to be going on for a minute. So I'm just using a phone, and I'm just sharing with you the information that I get. So it's nothing special. If you want to leave comments or you want me to look into anything in particular, let me know. And then of course, we'll get that information the best to my ability. If there was something more that I could do, I would love to do it. I am very limited, especially with my vehicle not being repaired when it should have been, and all the other drama that's going on here in Los Angeles, California. Now, Pasadena is just right over the hill from me, and I've been keeping an eye on that, because if the wind blows whatever kind of way, all of this area may be evacuated. So it doesn't take much, and we see that. So everybody's keeping an eye out on things. So if there's any questions, whatever, I just see one, just a name. There's not even a comment there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just remove that. because there's no comment. There we go. Delete it. And we'll go ahead and log off of this one since no one has any questions or anything. And I'm still going to upload this. So if you have questions or something you want me to look at or go into more details or whatever, we can do that. Um, I don't have my nonprofit registered and it's not active. Like the last conversation when we were talking about trying to get it up and running again, and the funding to be able to do certain things. I don't know what's going on in that county. In Los Angeles County, they got a lot of resources, they got a lot of money. That's why I was telling you that the Los Angeles County is one of the largest counties with a large amount of residents versus the San Bernardino. As far as the land-wise is larger, but as far as population is less, but yet they also have a higher, um, oh, what did I tell you guys last time of casualties? I guess the best way to put it. So Los Angeles County seemed to have everything covered. They've been giving out lines of connection to get a hold of the resources if you need it. But the Pasadena and Altadena areas, like you all said, there's not much information out there. So that's why I'm just trying to do this for those of you who was talking about it. So definitely um, continue to share and let me know, and I'll do the best that I can to share what I find and keep you guys updated. I guess for me, what's on my mind is the elders because of what I went through with my family members. Um, a lot of this is kind of repeating itself, which is just absolutely insane. But it's very similar situations that have happened, especially with the elderly. When it comes to emergencies and so forth and making sure that they're okay. Most of the immediate ones that I took care of, when I told you that I took care of elderly family members by choice, have passed on. So the other ones, I'm related to them, but they have people that are their of custody that they have power of attorney over. I'm not the one that has power of attorney over them. So, from my understanding of everyone that I know, they're okay and they're taken care of. These are people that I haven't been to these neighborhoods since I was a child. So, all of this would just basically be like seeing people brand new because they wouldn't recognize me. The the years back when I was there was like 70s and 80s. And so basically, I would just be trying to help in general. There's no particular person. Um, you heard what Jody Watley said, if you can help, help. I wouldn't even know where to start because what they're telling people is in those neighborhoods, because of the fire and the winds and the down power lines and stuff, that it's not safe. Um, so I'm just looking for the information where people are asking for help and that they're needing assistance. The only thing I've really heard them talk about is pets, but the people is what I'm really trying to see. Uh, what if they need the water or whatever? Because from my understanding with the pets, they have a place for them at this moment in time, and they're just looking for households that can take in some of the pets. But they have that under control. But some of the elderly, they showed a building that had burnt down that the elderly were living, where their home was. And it was for the, up there in age, for the elderly housing. So I haven't heard anything else of where they're at, if anyone had perished or what's going on. So it's difficult to say, hey, let's try to get something together and help these people in this area, because there's not much information. And to just drive out trying to get information, I would be better off trying to do the research first. I'm assuming because Jody Watley's saying that she helped someone, and to look at people who put up GoFundMe and so forth, um, and that's how she was able to help someone. I'm not sure. It was just a short message, and I just recorded that for you guys. You guys can go back if you want to rewind that and hear what she's talking about. So, like I said, I'm just getting the clips, getting the news, and if I hear of something that we could possibly do, even if it's take water to somebody, some clothing, I got some T-shirts, stuff like that, because I always just wear them white T-shirts. So if somebody need some clothing or something just to change into, or some whatever that it may be, I don't know, but I'm just stating that we can work it out, we can figure it out, and go from there. So I'll keep you guys posted, and I'll just be logging on as I get different information. And if you see the video, whatever, make a note or something, just say, hey, Elise, blah, blah, blah. So I love you guys much, and we'll chat later. Take care.